Hey everyone, this is Matt. How are you guys doing out there? Make sure this microphone is close enough to my mouth here. Kimberly is here, Nancy is here, Arjun. Hey Arjun. Alright, Ellen. Awesome. Alright, so listen up. I have a new positioning here with my drawing. It's my computer screen basically that I'm drawing on here today, and hopefully my head won't get in the way. I had to adjust a couple of things. I've been working so hard, my neck's been like killing me lately, so I'm like, I need to be a little bit more ergodynamic with the way that I draw. I'm like looking down and oh my god, my neck's been killing me. So the purpose of today's class here, too much information, right? Too much information, but you're here in my studio and we're hanging out, and I'm already kind of complaining to you, which I shouldn't be doing. I would like to first talk about with a pre-drawn hand. I'll get to the drawing here in a moment. I just want to share two things with you. I want to draw a really cool sculpture by Rodin, and I'm probably not saying his name with that certain je ne sais quoi. I mean, I don't even really say my own last name with that certain je ne sais quoi. But I've been to the Rodin Museum. It's in Philadelphia. It's really unbelievable. I love his sculptures. There's a ton of his sculptures at the Met. And I got this hands photo from the Met. Now, for members of DTO, I'll put the hand photo for you to download at the website, but you can easily just go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, type in Rodin, R-O-D-I-N, and you can get all of his sculptures, great pictures from the Met, and that's where I got this photo reference. So, yeah. Okay, so I want to share with you two things before we get started here, and then I'll switch my camera and we'll head on over to the drawing. Every time I do a hand drawing or a foot drawing, what I like to do is review some anatomy. Not that this is going to turn into an anatomy lesson, not even close, but I wanted to share with you this book. If you really love drawing the figure, and you really love drawing hands and feet and portraits and all that, anything figure-based, this book is a must-have for your library. Okay, and I'll just pull out a couple of pages here. I won't get into the detail with it. Actually, I'm going to switch cameras so I don't seem so funny, kind of flopping around here. No, yep, let's use this scene. So in this book, there are these incredible line drawings. These illustrations are just really magnificent. And you know, every once in a while when you're drawing a hand like this, even though we're going to be very rough with it, it's good just to kind of know what you're getting yourself into in terms of anatomy. And this book, the drawings in this book, like when you look at the radius and the ulna, this is the type of line I'm going to talk about a little bit, although this really isn't going to be a full-blown line drawing. But yeah, I love these. And then when we kind of switch down, give me a moment, let me just kind of get to this, to some of her hand drawings, I mean, wow, yeah, you could really just see her competence with the anatomy, and yeah, really nice stuff with her hand drawings. And then on another page here, she references one of her favorite artists, which is Raphael. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Raphael's work. So I just want to share this book with you very quickly. I think it's a great book for you to buy. The author is Sarah Simblett, and you know, this book is in a lot of libraries. I'm just trying not to destroy the cover here. Now, let me share with you a blast from the past, okay? Before we get started on the drawing, I'll mix things up a little bit here on you guys. Hey, Michael. France, nice, thank you. Yeah, that book it's a Bible, no doubt about it. There's a bit of an echo. Let me just make sure that my sound is all the way down. Actually. How about now? You still hearing a little bit of an echo? Oh, I see. Okay, that should have solved it. How's that now? Is that a little bit better? Ah, the hazards of live streaming.
Yeah, I think I just solved it. I had another camera that wasn't muted, and yep, still echoing. How about now? I just muted two other cameras. Solved. Thank you, Arjun. Okay, I'm just an artist, you know. I'm trying here. I'm trying here. You know, just one click could really screw everything up. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. So I want to share with you a blast from the past. You know, this is a painting. Let me switch cameras here for a moment, and then I'll go. Thank you, Arjun. Um,
So this is the type of stuff that I think I did this painting in 1992, maybe 1993. And the type of work that I used to do was for medical publishing companies. My first job was with a medical publishing company. And believe it or not, this painting was for a medical publishing company. You can see it's on a flexible illustration board. It's gessoed, and this is oil painting. And this painting is close to almost 28 years old, and it's still kind of hanging out. And I'll give you a little backstory to this painting before we get started with the drawing here and what I'm going to show you.
Let's go to this. Okay. So the backstory with this old painting, my goodness gracious, so you can see that I used to paint hands all the time. Okay. This was a mom and a daughter, and the mom actually passed away years later, and I found that out because the daughter modeled for me when she was younger, and then she modeled for me when she was older for a young adult book cover. So, you know, I just want to say that, you know, hands for me is something that is very tricky. I've been doing this for years. These hands are horrendous, but they're not terrible for 28 years ago. But yeah, I just want to share with you a little bit of a blast from the past in terms of some of the stuff I did when I first graduated from college to practice all of this stuff. So now let's get started with our piece. Echo is back. Okay. Fixed. Okay, that's weird. The streaming thing is really weird. Now, just a side note before I start drawing here. And
right now, we are in the middle of a windstorm. I'm not joking. Like, the winds outside are like 30 to 40 miles an hour. I wouldn't be surprised if the stream starts to buffer. It's May 8th, I guess, May 9th, and it's crazy cold. It was like 35 degrees last night, and we're in the middle of a windstorm. So literally, like, my house was shaking a little bit, and the camera was shaking. So hopefully we don't have any problems. You know, I just these other.
Why does that keep coming on? What the heck? Okay, that's so weird. I understand what is happening. When I switch cameras, the echo starts. That's what's going on. Okay, so now I understand. So let me stop jibber jabbering over here. Let me stop kind of going on, and let's start the lesson for today. I won't go too long, but now I know what's happening with that being muted, and I really appreciate I appreciate your feedback. With the help of you guys, I kind of just figured it out. So when I switch cameras to that other scene, we definitely get the echo, but right now it should be pretty good. Okay, so what do you see here on the monitor? Well, basically what you see is in the middle, you see a beautiful plaster cast of a Rodin sculpture. And like I said, I got this from the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it's a great hand to draw because it's kind of rough. And what you see are the surface planes of the hand. What we see here is, beautiful top light coming from up above, shadows on the underplanes, cast shadows. So again, every time you do a drawing, the first thing you want to do is you want to start to analyze where the light is coming from. So light is kind of coming from up above, and a clue as to where the light is coming from is look at the fingertips up top. Do you see how they're so light over there on the photo? And then the front plane of the finger is slightly darker, and then as it turns under here, it starts to get darker still. So classic light coming from the top. I'd say it's coming from the front top, like just a little bit in front of the statue, but mainly from the top. Okay, so that's number one, and I'm going to harp on that every single class that we have. Every time you choose photo reference, understand where the light is coming from. That should be like one of your most important things that you do. Okay, now when I look at this hand, it's kind of really rough, and I like that. And so the topic of today's class, or at least the beginning part of it, it always kind of morphs into something else, is using convex line into convex tone to create three-dimensional form. And a hand gives you so many more opportunities with the fingers, the thumb, to do this sort of thing. And I'll show you exactly where I'm talking about. Let me sharpen this. Okay, so with a portrait, sometimes you see it on people, sometimes you don't. But on a hand, you do. So now where would be a classic, hey, Aurora, hand, convex line on the hand that would enable you to promote three-dimensional form? Well, when we come over here to the thumb and we look at the thumb on the reference, so this line here, and I don't care about this drawing. It was just I was just messing around with it yesterday when I was checking out my new camera setup here. So this hand, that thumb, that is a convex line that rolls around the thumb to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. You want to do that as much as possible. Now, when you roll in, you don't want to roll in that dark. You want to kind of keep it light. Now, see this part of the thumb on the sculpture? Do you see how I have it kind of coming down as a straight line over here? You don't want any straight lines. Now, this is a plaster cast, not a cast plaster, like I said first. And there are going to be, it's synthetic. Okay, so there will be some straight lines on a synthetic object, but let's just say it's an organic hand, not a synthetic cast. This should not be straight, it should be curved, and then the end of that line, you want to curve it ever so slightly. Now I'm curving it a little bit darker so you can see, but in essence, this is a convex line, this would be a convex tone. Okay, over here we have, I'm going to actually zoom in just a little bit for you guys. I'll lose a little bit of the top. Let me just lower this ever so slightly here. Bear with me as I adjust this. Okay, we have layers of paper here. Okay, that's better. Okay, thank you for bearing with me on that. Yeah, so here's another convex line. If you look at the sculpture, this line rolls in to, it's basically where two bones meet, okay? Where a phalange meets a metacarpal. So that is rolling in. Over here at the wrist, do you see how this muscle for the thumb rolls in? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines that wrap around the form that really help to make that thumb look three-dimensional. Now, of course, I'm kind of going really rough with this. Now, here's another one that comes in, and this one's a little bit more difficult to see, but there's this bump on the sculpture, and this comes in and starts to create another convex line, and I'm doing it a little bit over the top. Now, sometimes you might want your drawings to be a little bit more tonal and less linear, because you can see as soon as I start to put those lines in, it starts to become a little bit more stylized. Understand that I'm kind of going a little over the top with my line. But this right here near the finger, this thing, okay, this is a convex tone. So again, no straight lines, that's the goal. We wrap this last digit, this phalange it's called, and we're going to come on in, but instead of doing the line, we're going to now wrap around that finger with the tone. Okay, over here, I'm coming on in and I'm wrapping around. I'm trying to promote the finger as a three-dimensional body. So see what I'm doing here with my pencil stroke? I'm wrapping around. Same thing now. I'm coming in with some shading lines, and I'm using more of a vertical shading line. And so I'm kind of going like that. Okay, so I really do believe that it's important that you try to do the convex lines and the convex tone. Now, where else do you see this on this particular drawing? Well, there's no doubt it's all over these fingers. So this particular finger over here is going to have a convex that's going to roll in, and I'm going to use form lines. Over here on this little finger, I'm going to use a convex line, and then there's a couple of them. This here, if you really look at the sculpture, there's some texture on the sculpture. It comes in, there's a line texture, and then we use some tone, and I'm going to wrap around with some pencil strokes over here. My pencil stroke direction is going to wrap around as well. Okay, so there's tons of opportunities for you as an artist on a hand with fingers and all that jazz to get both convex line and convex tone. Now, somebody with the coaching, Paul, how are you? I don't know if you're here, Paul from the UK, was doing a lot of his shading lines kind of going across like this, okay? And when you go across with your shading lines like that, what you wind up doing is just kind of destroying the downward flow to your shading. So you see on most of the shading lines on this quick sketch, this is kind of going on the angle of that finger with my shading lines. Sometimes I'm kind of trying to get rid of the shading lines and I'm trying to do more tone. Wow, the wind is crazy. My camera's shaking. Do you see that? Do you see the hand shaking? It just was. The wind is nuts. Wow, really nuts. So over here, even over here, I'm kind of doing a vertical pencil stroke, okay? And then I'm combining wrapping around lines. So when we go back to the book, bear with me here. I'll show you this as quickly as I can. I'm prepared with my Post-it note, okay? When we look at the Raphael drawing, there are no straight lines. And you see all of the shading lines. They're all going in different directions. Some of them, like look at the deltoid up top, right over here. See how these lines are wrapping around the deltoid? But yet over here, the lines are kind of wrapping a little bit horizontally, and then he's coming vertical with some of the shading lines. I mean, really cool. Now, understand, so we start to see some diagonal pencil strokes over here on this guy's glute. So sometimes you could do a pencil stroke to block in tone. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because this has just been such a hot topic lately. So there are form lines. These are form lines that are wrapping around the finger in more of a vertical way. This is a convex line that wraps around at joints. That's where you're going to see these convex lines at the joint. And then sometimes you just want to do a diagonal pencil stroke just like that to block in tone. So understand the four different things that we're talking about here today. Convex line, help the edges of things look three-dimensional. Convex tone, if you want to draw in more of a softer tonal painterly sort of way. Then shading lines that wrap around the form in a three-dimensional way, and then shading lines to block in tone on a diagonal. So those are the main four things I really wanted to talk about today with this particular hand. And again, I'm a huge believer in drawing sculpture. You know, it's funny, the model just, one of my model friends, Erica, she is out of work. She's really not working because the school is closed, and she's taking pictures of herself. You know, she sent me a whole bunch of portraits this morning, and she's trying to earn an extra dollar that way. So I just bought a whole bunch of pictures from her, and yeah. So when you're can't draw from life, the next best thing is photos. Okay, if you don't have a model friend who's sending you pictures to purchase to do a portrait drawing, well, then the next best thing is sculpture. You can go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you can type in sculpture, you can type in bronze sculpture, you can go to the American Wing collection and browse through it. That's where I found this. Okay, this is in European paintings, actually, the sculpture of the Rodin. All right, so are you guys hearing me okay? Is everything cool? I wish I can hear you guys a little bit. So how do you feel about me doing a quick drawing of a hand? Is that going to work for you guys? I'm not going to do a very long streaming class here today. The best way to... Okay, so Arjun is asking a questions. Where can we buy pictures? Okay. All right, time out. Let me answer Arjun. Arjun wants to know, I'd love to know how to use that book better. I find hand and foot anatomy very difficult. So for me, it's a process of isolation, Arjun. What I would do is I would just first draw the bones, okay, and familiarize yourself with the bones. Most of the muscles on the hand are within the palm of the hand, and the two big muscles are here and here for pulling the hand back. On the back of the hand, it's mainly a lot of tendon. So you just, hands are the most complicated to draw in my opinion. I almost feel as though that hands are way more complicated to draw than features of the face and the face in general. So it's isolation. Isolate the bones, then start to go to one side of the hand, the palm of the hand, and then go to the back of the hand. And the thing with hands and feet is you have to draw the forearm, because most of the bulk of the muscles are in the forearm, and they become tendons, and then they kind of flow into the back of the hand. So I feel it's isolation and time. Okay, now where can you get photos? Well, I'm going to ask the model who I'm buying the pictures from if she would sell me some pictures also for the website. She's a great model. She's all over my Instagram page, and she is at erica.nyc. She's really just a great model. I tried to get to the bottom of her Instagram page and I couldn't do it. She has so many pictures. Okay, so all right, let's draw this hand. I'm going to do it very quickly for you guys. I'm not going to do a long stream today, and yeah. Okay, Michael, thank you. Now let me just grab a little sip of water here. Thank God it's sunny, because if it was 37 degrees outside and cloudy, I think, I would go into a major depression at May 8th. Okay. So let's do it. Let me just mark my borders here where I'm at. And my head's not in the video, so this is working already. And I got marks all over the paper. My God. So here we are. Let me just do a big mark. Okay, so this hand. Now, here's my trick, what I teach in the classroom for drawing hands. You do not draw individual fingers. You group fingers together when possible. So just like last week's drawing kicked my butt. I feel that feet are way worse to draw. Now, feet are easier than hands. There's no doubt. I will argue with that all day long. Okay, so let's do this. Let me see where I'm at. I'm going to start. Let's start here. Okay, so just like last week, I'm starting this drawing with a gesture line. Now, last week, that drawing kicked my butt. I meant to show it to you guys. I just uploaded, took me like all day, a 7-lesson course to the website with the drawing that I did last week. That drawing kicked my butt. Why did it kick my butt? Because I did not get the gesture line right in the first 2 minutes. And then the rest of the drawing was fixing my mistake, because I wasn't relaxed. I was distracted. There were a lot of noises in the background. I could make up excuses all day long. But the point is I got it wrong. I got the gesture line wrong. So that drawing kicked my butt all day. But I got to say, I really enjoyed working on it. So where is this? I'm going from the pointer finger all the way down to the bottom of the hand. Okay, so now that's a pretty big drawing right there. I can make it a little bit smaller, but now let's draw fingertips and let's draw fingers together. So I'm kind of starting with the angles and a gesture. Okay, I start every drawing differently. Last week I tried to do it with continuous line, and quite frankly, when I'm drawing with the figure with a model like Erica, I'm just doing continuous line. I'm never doing this type of stuff. But this is a different type of drawing. This is an educational drawing. Okay, all right, cool, Sandy. So Sandy, it was my dad's birthday yesterday, and I gave him my brand new bottle of Conor McGregor's Proper 12. and I almost cried giving it away to him, but I did. Okay, so now I'm doing angles, and he's going to enjoy that. And now the trick is here, don't try to be too perfect, right? So I need to go a little faster. So I'm going to come on in to the bottom. Now my fingers, I can tell they're already extremely tall, but you want to know something? I'm already up top. I could just lower them. That's an easy tweak. So what we're doing here is we are just doing more of a gestural hand. Now I'm not pressing down hard at all because this is a top plane where there's going to be light, and if I go too dark over there where there's going to be light on the tops of the fingers, I'm going to be in trouble. Okay, so now this part of the hand, the wrist, just comes straight down. So you can see the way that I like to block out hands initially is just drawing things together. So that's my overall hand shape without the thumb, right? Oh yeah, crying over proper 12. I haven't drank a lot of that, and quite frankly, I'm kind of giving my liver a little bit of a rest during Corona, but everyone else is not. Yeah, thank you very much, Arjun. Oh yeah, it's my wife's birthday on Monday. So now we're going to do the thumb. Now immediately I look, and that thumb is higher than this finger, and I'm looking at the negative space. So again, I'm not going to worry about being perfect with this. I just want to go fast. Okay, if you're too perfect, not good. So this thumb kind of comes to a point, and then here's our convex line that we just talked about. So you can do the convex line early on. So I'm just squinting, so let's lean back. It's a little too tall, that thumb. So not a problem. We're going to go with the lower line. So this is my gesture of the hand. So now I'm just going to try my very best to resolve. There's an angle here, and then we have our wrist area. So now convex into the thumb. Okay, and let's try not to be perfect. Now here's that line that I said not to draw straight. So we're going to curve it right about here, and I'm looking at the distance from where that thumb ends to where this kind of bottom of the thumb muscle or beginning of the thumb muscle starts. That all seems a little too long to me, and this seems to be wanting to come straight up and down, but let's not worry too much about perfection at this stage of the game. Let's move around. So the quickest way to do a bad drawing, because I've been there many times before, is to get stuck in the beginning. So don't get stuck, just keep moving. So now I'm going to move over here. So I'm going to connect. This needs to be wider. Those fingers need to be wider. So I think they're the right height. I just drew them too skinny. So together. So now I'm going to widen, and I'm being very light. Hey, Marie. Happy birthday. I like Rodin a lot. I mean, what I would recommend is to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And the question was, can you recommend doing studies of a particular sculptor? Right now, I'd have to think about that. But my favorite sculptures, I can say this to you with clarity. My favorite sculptures are at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So if you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art.org, okay, and you just look for sculpture, this needs to be angled more. That's where I would look, and I would just, there's so many great ones, and I've been teaching at the Met for over 20 years, and yeah, it's just a place that the sculptures are incredible. So now I kind of have an idea of where those fingers are going to be. They probably need to be tilted more, but let's not get stuck there. Let's keep going. So we have our width here, and now we're going to raise that. And come on down. Okay. Now I'm going to do some more in the middle. I don't want to get stuck on just the edge, because I need to do some interior measurements. So lesson here is, yes, me personally, you don't have to draw the way that I draw. I like to draw on the edge first, and I like to do big lines first. But don't live on the edge. Like, come on in soon and do some interior stuff. Favorite instant coffee to drink while watching your stream? Yeah, you know, I only had 1 cup this morning, so I'm not jittery. But yeah, right after the stream, I will go get more coffee. So what do we have here? We have a drawing that's completely out of proportion. Okay, so I'm looking straight ahead. I'm looking at my drawing. So that's what we have. We have a drawing that's out of proportion. But what I'm trying my very best to do is I'm going to raise this. I'm trying to group things together. Okay, so let's come down this side of the hand. I apologize for blocking that. So this needs to be higher. Squint at it. Yep. Yeah, and if you can buy some plaster cast, you know, the big thing with the plaster cast is that people, if you buy one, you get bored of it if you draw it a lot, and I understand that. That would be like for me as a teacher, if I had the same model all 30 classes for my students. Like, okay, fine, maybe the model is one of the best models, but when you draw the same thing over and over, you can get a little bored of it. So that's the beauty of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Hellenbrunn collection. You could go there and you could use their collection, the photography. Most of these sculptures are in the public domain, and so it's something that you don't have to worry about if you wanted to do a painting from a sculpture and profit from it. You're not going to get in trouble from that because these are so old, some of these sculptures. So yeah, they're in the public domain and you can use them. So now I'm going to look at the distance between the thumb and that finger, and I'm going to start to just block in some tone. So let me use this eraser and erase out. So it's erasing out pretty good. I'm using the tone gray paper here today. So let's get rid of some of this. Okay, I'm using a quick circular stroke with the eraser. So now, let's do this. Where's my big brush? No big brush today? Seriously? Ah. Okay. So let's do a quick comparison. So this was the one that I did yesterday when I was setting up my camera. And what I see is the fingers are a little bit smaller. Okay, what I see here, oh yeah, I see what's happening. So how long have I been drawing? Like 5 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, I don't know. So at this point in the game, it is so very important to lean back, okay, and reassess where you're at. So I'm going to push this over, and I'm going to push that over. And this just has more of a tilt than what I'm giving it. So I'm going to push this whole finger over. So don't worry about making mistakes early on. Just use it to your advantage. You can turn some of that mistake line that you've done into background tone if you want to go there with it. Okay, that helped a lot. Now, this whole hand is a little bit more of a circle. I'm going to lift this up. Just keep looking. Okay, let's just do a little bit more on the inside to see where we're at with this. What is right up above this phalange? And now we're getting a little bit closer to that thumb, so I think this thumb needs to go a little bit more straight up and down. And okay, so I'm moving everything over to the right. No big deal. This could all become texture. Awesome. That just helped a lot, okay? So yes, I'm pulling this over. The heat is cranking. I just cannot believe I'm using more heat in May in my home than I did in February. Okay. So just looking at any chat here. I gave up on hands years ago. Well, hands are hard. 9.5 minutes. Okay. Hands are hard, no doubt. So you see, I haven't gotten into fingernails. There are no fingernails really, just like a little one over here. I'm just trying to look at this hand as an organic shape that is very gestural and very round. The palm of the hand is very round. Let's erase this out and make that hand a little less wide. It's very circular. Do you see this here? How oval like that is? Wow, snow. I hope we don't get snow tonight. It's going to be that. So when I pull a line straight down, now my camera's going to distort it a little bit, but I'm trying to pull my line parallel with the piece of paper. So when I pull that line down, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to act like a real artist, and I'm going to hold my pencil up like that, and I'm going to squint, and what is right below the tip of that finger, so the wrist slash forearm is slightly to the left. So slightly to the left means this needs to come in. So you need to do that measurement. Now, the photo reference is roughly 2.5 feet in front of me, 24 inches, 30 inches in front of me. I should have pulled my camera a little bit, my computer a little bit closer, but it's all good. I'm not going to do that now. And I'm looking straight ahead. So remember, this is so important. Yeah, I just want to check something. Hopefully my head is not in the way here. I think my head should be at the bottom over here, correct? Yeah, when you are drawing, make sure that you're not going like this, looking at your reference. You're drawing, and then you turn and you look at your reference, and then you turn, and then you turn again, and you're turning. And if it's a big turn where you're looking over there at the model, and then your drawing's over here, that turn, you lose information in your brain. All I'm doing is I'm looking straight ahead. I should have got this so much faster than I'm doing right now, but I guess, yeah, it's going to fight me today again here. So let's keep going. So I'm going to squint. You know, the thing is, when a drawing fights you, it's a good practice day. It's a good practice day. You just have to kind of look at it like that. You know, a lot of people this week made breakthroughs with their work. And a lot of the coaching students that I have made breakthroughs. And some of them have been with me for months. And there were weeks where they really did some pieces that they were not pleased with. And I can see some of the frustration like in their voice that they were not necessarily pleased with what they were doing, and they wanted to see progress a little bit quicker. And there are just going to be, you know, those times that you just got to work for an extended period of time. Maybe it's going to be, you thought it was going to be a month, maybe it's going to be 4 months, right? Okay, so moving that over helped. I'm going to move this over even still. There's a little chip over there. That just helped tremendously. Okay, so now we have more of the oval hand. Is it perfect? No. So let's just keep going. How long are we into this stream? We're about 38 minutes into it. Okay, not bad. A great general tip, in my opinion, is to look at your subject as a series of shapes, forms, and dynamic light and shadow. Fixating on such small things as fingernails would create distractions. Yep, Morris is absolutely right. I couldn't agree more with you on that. Yep. Yep, exactly. I couldn't agree more with what you just wrote there. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, let's just make this a little thicker. You know, it's funny. Why sometimes are those initial lines right and why sometimes are they off? Don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to just try to go a little bit faster with some tone. So what we've done here is a lot of the edge. We've talked about shapes, big shapes. We've talked about the initial gesture line. We've talked a little bit about wrapping around. Okay, so now I think it's going to be really, really beneficial to start to put in some shapes on the interior. So this last phalange, a little bit of a shape over here, and I'm comparing it to the bottom of the thumb, and I'm looking at how long that finger is. I'm not pressing down hard just yet, And now I'm looking at where the underplane of that fingertip is in relationship to this part of the thumb. So it needs to be tilted more this way. I see. Okay, so let's not get stuck, and let's keep moseying around. And so we have both fingertips kind of together. You want to draw those together. Let's wrap around, and let's wrap around. So let's put in some tone over here. So remember, shading, like what I talked about in the beginning part of the video, is a diagonal. So that's our shadow. This is our cast shadow going down the center of the hand. And then this is all very, very much a side plane of the hand right over here. So I'm doing that with a diagonal pencil stroke. So this comes down a little bit lower, that tone, that kind of rolls in. Yeah, mitten. Yes, the knuckles are so very important for drawing a hand, because the knuckles give you gesture when you're drawing that back view, and it's really where the hand stops and the fingers start. I mean, it seems very obvious, but a lot of people don't pay enough attention to the knuckles. So let's just kind of keep going here. And let's put in this underplane shadow. Again, I'm looking at this underplane shadow not in a vacuum. I'm kind of looking at this little vein here. But I'm looking at it in relationship to where the bottoms of these fingers are, the last two fingers on the hand. So let's just put in some tone. Sorry for blocking that. Let's put in some tone. Okay, so I actually got to write down what was happening earlier with the mics and switching over and muting them. I need to pay closer attention to that so I don't do that again next week. Okay, so moving that over helped a lot. I enjoy drawing hands and feet, Marie. I find it to be easier because I can quickly use geometric shapes for the form and initial gesture line. Yeah, so when I go like this with my hand, can you see how my hand is a box? This is the easiest hand to draw, and you really pay attention to those knuckles, okay? And there needs to be good light and shade on it. That's the caveat. So top light is great for hand studies. All right, so let's start over. Let's go back to this little home base. And let's dance on down. I'll go a little faster. So now I'm going to kind of wrap around this way. So there's no light over here that is as light as the fingertip. So I'm going to knock that down. I haven't made the decision as to whether or not I'm going to use white charcoal on this piece. I haven't gone to a faculty meeting at the School of Visual Arts. I don't want to say on video when the last time was that I went, but they have one today, a virtual one at 3 o'clock. And I need to go because they're talking about changes happening at the school due to lack of enrollment, because 50% of the school is international. So I don't even know next year if my class is going to run at the college. And so we are having a faculty meeting at 3 o'clock, and I need to be there to see what is happening. And so I don't think I'm going to do a very long drawing today the way that I did last week. This is just going to be more of a quick study. So front plane, just keep squinting. So now we can use our eraser and erase this out. It's erasing out quite nicely on this Strathmore toned gray paper. Now, let's just do a little tone over here. So remember, your mistake lines, don't worry about them so much. Maybe you're drawing along with me. I made a lot of little mistakes on this drawing, but just got to keep pushing it. Sometimes those mistake lines are some of the beautiful lines in your drawing. There's some people, some artists out there. Now, of course, I'm forgetting. He's a really, maybe it's Craig Mullins. I don't know, but he does these figure drawings and he leaves his initial lines in and just really relaxes the drawing. Quite beautiful. Okay, so we're just doing our initial block in. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I used to teach in both the undergrad department as well as continuing education. And a lot of the times, continuing education classes did not run. So when they did not run, you developed a thick skin and you just kind of kept going. And the class that I had, the second live class that I had here on Saturday, about a month and a half ago on Zoom, one of the topics was multiple streams of income, if you guys remember that. So if my class doesn't run in the fall due to lack of enrollment because New York City is still shut down, there's multiple streams of income. So yeah, so that class is on the website. It's on the live stream part of the website, and that's really important. To as an artist, you gotta have those multiple streams of income. So I'm gonna make this just lean back and look. I think this needs to come down more. So I'm doing a soft tone over here. This is my convex tone that we talked about first. This is my convex tone that we talked about earlier on in the video. It needs to wrap around the form of the finger so the finger is three-dimensional. Thank you, Aurora. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming. I thought about you when I was sending out the link. Last night we went over to my parents' house because of my dad's birthday, and I was thinking about you. I'm like, I got to get the link out. I got to get the link out for the live stream. And then I came home, and it was late, and of course you go to your Italian mom's house, and you come back like in a food coma, even though we didn't eat dinner there. She's given me all this food, so food coma. I'm like, yeah, I'll do the link Saturday morning. So yeah, I was thinking about you, Aurora, no doubt. I'm like, I gotta get the link out. I gotta get the link out. Okay, so I'm just scribbling in tone. That's all I'm doing. And let's lean back and assess. Still not right. You know, it's definitely not right, which is a little frustrating. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Just let me study here for a moment. So we're going to do that. Then, yep. Can't stop talking when you're doing a live stream. That wouldn't work too good. Okay, this is going to come down now. I need to start wrapping around this a little flat over here. A little side plane of that pointer finger. And this thumb is horrendous. Horrendous. Look at the negative space in between the thumb and the pointer finger. Yeah, that guy, Stephen Bauman, he's pretty good. No doubt about it. I don't know how long his tutorials are, but man, they've got to be like weeks with the way that he draws. But he's good, no doubt. I say that as a joke, weeks, because I know what it's like to do the long ones and filming the long ones. It's like weeks. No doubt. Okay, so let's do a little convex line over here. Let me lean back. Just look at it from far away. So let's block in a little bit more tone here. This is becoming more of a tonal drawing, but for me, the way that I like to draw is in layers. So I like to layer in tone, and then I like to put line on top of the tone, the convex line that we talked about in the first part of this live stream. Okay, and let's come on down into this wrist to make this hand appear a little bit longer. I think that wrist totally needs to be thicker. So Dana's asking future discussion how to copyright your drawing from others stealing it. So here's my answer to that, and I'm not being sarcastic, Dana. I'm just being very truthful, because I've been doing business online since 2006, and I've sold DVDs 2006, and if it's online, it's gonna get ripped off. If it's online, it's gonna get pirated. Now, whether or not you find out about that is another story. And I'm not trying to be negative at all. I'm just telling you my experience. A lot of things that I've put online have been stolen. And I used to really get bent out of shape, and I used to issue takedown requests, and then I actually had somebody do that for me, and I used to pay them, and they used to go to these sites. And now I don't care. If somebody wants to steal the drawing, God bless. You know, it's the internet. The internet is still the wild, wild west. So all you can do, this is my advice, and I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really trying to be practical, because on the internet, everything gets stolen. You just put your watermark down with a link to your website. And so if somebody steals your drawing, at least you're gonna get traffic back to your website. So that's an added benefit. And I remember, I mean, I've been teaching students for years, and I teach at an art school. So you're gonna get a lot of different people at an art school with many, many different ideas of how the world should work. And, you know, two students, I would argue with them, this was maybe 8 years ago, I would argue with them about pirating and all of that, and they talked me into the other side of piracy, that people would find out about you who never ever would have had a chance of finding out about you through piracy. And you know, at the time, I'm like, yeah, it's still wrong though, but they did have a point. There's so many people that found out about me and my website through piracy. Now, whether or not they ever decided to sign up to the website, I didn't track that. But there's a plus and a minus to everything. And that's the only plus that I can see with the piracy of your stuff, whether it's videos online or your character design or your drawings of somebody. If somebody steals it, the benefit of that is someone, and actually a lot of people are going to find out about you who, no matter how much money you spent on advertising, they'd never be able to find out about you in the first place. Again, I'm not advocating piracy, but it's not justifying it. I'm just telling you my experience. I hate it because, you know, I'm a content creator, and my son, I'm trying to educate him because he's a drummer, and I think he got something he wasn't supposed to get from a friend. I'm like, that's piracy. I go, you don't really care about it right now, but when you put out your first music as a drummer and someone pirates it and you're not getting paid for it, that's when you'll care. And he's only 13 and he doesn't understand just yet. But yeah, you care about piracy when you get pirated. But let's change topics. Let's change topics. So how about those Mets? So Dana, just to kind of finish off on that topic, in my opinion, it's the internet. So if you're going to put yourself out there, unfortunately, there's still a lot of bad stuff that goes down on the internet. It's still the wild, wild west, no matter what. And it's always going to be that way. But I've kind of given up a little bit with that because your life becomes what you think about. So if I'm thinking about that all the time, that's what I'm going to be too focused on. Yep. Journey. Hey, man, what's up? How are you? Jeff, what's going on, man? You have drawings to send to me. Yeah, you just got billed this morning, man. I put it off. How you doing with your work, Jeff? Are you struggling like me here today again? Okay, so let's loosen some stuff up. Let's erase out. Yeah, I love the internet. Like everything in life has pros and cons, and I couldn't do without the internet. I love the internet, and I've learned so much from YouTube videos from people, and I never would have learned that stuff. I never would have learned all new things by reading. So yeah, you got it, Jeff. So I mean, I love the internet. I wouldn't trade it for anything. With the goods and the bads. Um, it depends. I mean, Morris2934 asked me when do I put background tone in my piece. In a short YouTube streaming thing like this, I'm gonna bore everyone to death if I start putting background tone in. But I do that. It depends on the context. So if I'm teaching how to draw gesture, I'm not putting background tone in. If I'm doing a long portrait drawing, I'll put background tone in. If I'm going to teach how to wrap the head into the environment. Now, this is just a quick sketch of this hand today. So yeah, the hand is set up perfectly where there's the dark background tone. But if I start to shade that in, I'm going to put you all to sleep. So I'm not going to focus on the negative space. I'm just going to focus in on the positive space right now. But if I wanted to do that, I just have to commit to the time. And yeah, but I love background tone. And a little bit of background tone would go a long way on this piece, no doubt about it. Now, but background tone is huge. Background tone creates environment. And without it, you lose the ability to loosen up your drawings, and you lose the ability to create atmosphere. Background tone is so important. Even if it's just a little bit of background tone, it's vital to most pieces. But it's all about context. The value range. So I asked myself the question: where's the lightest light? Maybe it's here. Maybe it's on the tip of the thumb. Maybe it's on the fingertip. Everything's going to compare to the lightest light. And then where's the blackest black? Maybe the blackest black is right here in between the fingers. So you establish your darkest dark and your lightest light, and then the rest of it is about, I should sharpen this pencil. The rest of it is about matching values, and it's also about your style and how long of a day do you want it to be? Do you want to be working on this piece all day? Or do you just want to work on this thing for a couple of hours? Nice, man. Good for you. So you did your first commission piece. You didn't accept money because you wanted to get the experience. Cool. Okay, so convex line. So you have to go to the extremes, Jeff. So right now, I'm looking at this front plane of the thumb, the meta. So that's a phalange, I believe. It's more observation. Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can do. You can work on to create a tone in background. You can work on toned paper. This is toned paper, but you can work on painted board. There's a million different possibilities for the background tone. Again, it's all about what you're trying to accomplish, your style, how much time you have to do the drawing. Hey, Brazil, Fernando. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Let me just lean back. Still pushing this over. So, do you guys want me to work on this, say, another 15, 20 minutes. What do you think? Okay, so let's... Thanks, Fernando. I appreciate that. The thing that you have to remember with being an artist is that there's so many great artists out there that it's really, really intimidating to see how much talent there is online. And you just have to kind of come from it from the mindset that there's enough room for everybody to kind of succeed and doing their thing. So, yeah. Okay, cool. I'll spend like another 15, 20 on it. And so right now what I'm doing here, this is just kind of like a setup. So I'm doing, thank you, Nancy. Yep. This is a setup. So what I'm doing is soft tone. Okay. And then in a little bit, I'm going to start to do my line on top of the tone. Really soft tone here. So let's lose the edge of that fingernail. And let's go with the lay of the land over here with our tone. I'm being very painterly with it again. Thank you, Carol. You can check out my Instagram. I have the link in the description below because I do all different types of drawings. I do gesture drawings, I do long drawings, portrait drawings, life drawings drawn from photos. And it's something I've been doing my whole life. So glad to see you from the UK. I have a lot of students from the UK or England, the United Kingdom. I want to make sure that I'm using the right etiquette. Okay, so just squinting. Let's just tone this down. I'm not going to use a brush today, I don't think, because it's the tone paper. I just want to kind of do a quick pencil sketch and let the pencil live on its own. I could play with the brush. Let's see what happens here. It's more of like a time thing. If I start to use this brush, we're going to get a whole different vibe. I think this week I want to draw without the brush because I've been using the brush a lot lately. Sunny here. Yeah, it's sunny here too, but it's 33 degrees. Not 33, 30. Last I checked, it was 38 to be exact. Okay, so let's squint again. These front planes of those two last digits are not pure white, so we're going to tone them down. So let's brush off the eraser crumbs. Just lean back and look. Okay, so let's widen this even still. It's hard to see because it's shadow E. Okay, front plane of the thumb once again. Wales, UK, and it's rain and thunder and lightning. Yeah, it's so nuts here. The weather is crazy nuts. The wind died down just a little bit. I think that wind was a cold front coming in, and when it came in, it came in. That's what woke me up this morning at like 6 a.m., the wind. Okay, so let's now... That thumb's a little too thick here. Yeah. Couple of angles on that thumb. Just trying to make it look like that thumb. Get rid of the white over here so that thumb pops out. And so let's just add the convex like we did earlier on once again. So again, it's about layers. Round that around the thumb. Without that, the thumb's not going to look that round. We have some texture over here. I'm going to put some round strokes. I'm going to put a little texture over here. Just keep squinting like you need a pair of glasses. Good. And a little bit of texture. Let's wrap around over here once again. And we have a wrinkle in the skin right here. So we're going to drop that and erase out just a little bit over there. Now let's just add a little bit texture and tooth. So I'm trying to be a little bit more contrasty for you guys so you can see the drawing. A little bit of texture and tooth, some stains on the plaster, some chips on the plaster. Texture is created by diverse pencil stroke direction. Having a hard time seeing that. This tilts. I'm looking at the negative space between the finger and the thumb. So maybe I can bring this in. I'm still adjusting this little area. It's all good because it's in the shadow. This angles out just a touch, and then that's when it starts to zoom back in. So curve, there's no white here. I got to get rid of that white. Curve the tone in and around the cylindrical aspect of that finger. Yep. Or just take, I tell my students in class, I never did this, take the glasses off. Instead of squinting, just get rid of your glasses. So there's no light on this finger. It's a front plane. It's not going to be as light as the fingertip, which is a top plane. Oh, no, I didn't know that. Thank you, Sandy. One day I'm going to get over there. If I can just go to a place in my own town first, that would be kind of nice. Everything is closed. And then I'll get to the United Kingdom. Okay, so this finger is not straight. It's curved. Wrap those lines around. Now I did those horizontally just kind of for fun. And let's give this finger a side plane. And let's get rid of the white paper, the gray paper over here a little bit more and wrap. Let's see, how am I doing with that? This could be slightly taller, I believe, but before I start messing with that, India. Thanks, man. Ruka. I hope I'm saying your name right. You know, I watched some videos from some people in India who talk about, you know, the neck, cervical vertebrae, because I have some issues with my cervical vertebrae, and they talk about stretches and stuff. And now I know how people feel when they watch my videos from another country and I don't have subtitles, and it's so frustrating because they were giving out really good information, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. Mars2934, do you ever mess with hand tone in your paper yourself? So what I do is my chosen paper is illustration board. This is not that. And I like to paint my illustration board and draw on that. I've been using illustration board for like 30 years. Do I think the space between the middle finger and the ring finger is too wide? Middle finger and the ring finger. Middle finger and the ring finger is too wide. Yep. Yeah, that could be something that's kind of tweaking me here today. So let's see if we can't move them both together. Subtitles to understand your American lingo. Okay, well, I had a good joke for you, but I'll keep it to myself. Uh, okay, so let's make that. Thank you, Sandy, for pointing that out to me. Yeah, you're right. Look at that. Good eye. I should have had you guys give me tips from the beginning. Okay, so let's pull out. Just use that eraser. Let me resharpen. You know, once I use one pencil, I've got other pencils here. They're all sharpened perfectly, but once I have one pencil in my hand, I tend to like to do the whole drawing with that one. Thank you so much, Sybilesque. I hope I said that name right. Yeah, Marie, you're pretty close to the city, right? Are you in Queens? I forgot. So you're probably like in big time quarantine over there, and you nothing's open probably over there. Yeah, I mean, if you can't see the painting behind me on my easel, but I did all of my every painting I've ever created for book covers was painted on illustration board. So illustration board, kind of like for me, is a very familiar thing, and I'm very comfortable using it. Strathmore illustration board. So I just paint that board, and I've been painting it for years. And I have paintings that are over 30 years old, and they haven't deteriorated. Yeah, I mean, there's all different grades of illustration board. I use Strathmore; it's pretty pricey, but there are some types of paper that is actually more expensive than illustration board. There's all different priced illustration boards, no doubt. So I don't hate this. It's getting there. I just need more time. I like how it has more of the quote unquote mitten feel to it, and it's not too much about each individual finger. The base of the middle finger needs to go lower to the palm. The base of the middle finger needs to go lower to the palm. Okay, one moment here. Let me just take a pause, look at some of your questions. How many layers of gesso do you put on illustration board? So when I used to be a psychopath, I put 7 on one side, 7 on the other. And then when I stopped becoming a psychopath, I put 3 on one and 3 on the other. And that seemed to do it for me. Oh, it's all good. This is fun for me. Uh, Having you guys kind of interject like this. It's something. It's a different experience. It's fun. I mean, when I draw in a classroom with my students, and I have 18-year-olds looking at over my shoulder when I draw, um, that's a lot of fun, and we have a good time together. So let's. It's all good. So this is a YouTube drawing. It's nothing that is really that important in terms of I'm going to frame it. It's educational. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Um, Let's wrap around. Yeah, I could raise this a little. So let's be a little bit more aggressive with add in a dark. I'm just scribbling in tone, that's all I'm doing. Convex line over here, once again like we did at the beginning of the video. Let's raise up this vein a little bit, and that goes right into this aspect of the side of the hand. Is a little short. Yeah, it is putting together a little puzzle. So let me lean back. Yeah, that could be raised. So let's do this. Let me adjust this. Cool beans. Okay. Let's raise this ever so slightly. Slightly is going to be the key word here, so we don't do major surgery on this sucker. Because it's pretty close. It's certainly not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So let's pull out some lights. Let's pull out this light. Let's bring this down. A little bit more tone over here. Where are we with time? Okay, an hour and 17 minutes. So I need to hear from you guys. How much more would you like me to push this sucker? Yeah, that is kind of cool. So I want to have a nice hard edge on this thumb. I'll exaggerate it just a little bit. Sharp edge right there makes that thumb come forward. Just keep squinting. Let's be a little bit more aggressive with our line here. So just doing the shading with the line, the lay of the land. That finger's tilted. So let's tilt the shading lines. Cool. Greenpoint, Brooklyn, some stores are open, most essential grocery stores. Yeah. All right, Aurora, thank you so much for joining. If anyone wants a cutout, that's no problem with me. I appreciate you visiting. I think I'll probably go just for a little bit longer because I feel as though it's not resolved enough for this video. I want to push it just a wee bit more. So thank you, Sandy. If you guys want to bug out, that's cool with me. Again, I appreciate you joining me. I know that you have things to do on Saturday. I'm going to just stick with drawing just for a little while longer in case we get any new visitors. I can answer a couple of questions here while I'm going, because I'm just going to do one live stream today. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on this a little bit after, just for fun. Yeah, because I really do enjoy you. Yeah, you got it, Aurora. I look forward to seeing you next in next Saturday's class. Got that nice dark there. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you visiting. Thank you. It'd be rad. So you're from the 80s like me, huh? It would be rad. Did you used to ride BMX bikes in the woods too? Darker value under the pinky finger as an opponent. Okay, cool. All right, Craig, man, you got it. Okay, dark under that pinky. Yeah, thank you, Morris. Um, yeah, cool. Aurora, you should post it to the critique gallery on the website. Yeah, you got it, Michael. How's it going in Germany, Michael? Yeah, critique gallery, that would be so cool. Speaking of the 80s, I just gave my new paint in 80s hair. You warned me about 80s hair. Yeah, I mean, 80s for me was high school. I graduated from high school in 1986, and all those 80s movies, and my sister looked like an 80s movie with her hairdo. It's afternoon and sunny. Yeah, okay. I hope it's the strong Tylenol and not the right aid Tylenol. I'm just at this point right now. I'm just drawing a little bit more like a painter. I haven't done too much of the line thing. With the line thing, I'm gonna probably cover up the drawing a lot when I do that. Put in some form lines here. So the more you work on it, in my case today, if I keep working on this for like another hour off camera, I'll be able to just get. I mean, I'm at a comfortable position right now. This is such a better way for me to draw. I'm glad that I moved my setup around a little bit because my head's not getting in the way so much today. I don't think it's gotten in the way once. I hope not. These fingers kind of come together a little bit in their value. Craig, isn't this your bedtime now? Don't you go to sleep at this time? Yeah. Yeah, you got it, Marie. If you want to bug out, that's fine with me. I really, Marie, I miss those museum classes. We had a really good time. I was much skinnier when teaching at the museum because I would be walking around like crazy. Yeah, Sandy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you visiting. Okay, thank you, Morris. Thank you, Marie. Yeah, I hate anything dentist related, so I hope you're going to be okay. Hands are harder. You just woke up. I think hands could be harder than faces because hands can contort into the weirdest positions that faces cannot contort. If I do a crazy expression right now, which I will not do, like raising an eyebrow, even more than that, Yeah, you can contort your face, but hands, like when you go like this with your hands and then you foreshorten them and all this weird, it gets pretty weird. They're hard to draw. Okay, so there's this little dark over here. Just let's get this. There is no such thing as the spine of the hand, obviously, but I like to call this part of the hand the spine of the hand, where the little finger muscles and the thumb muscles kind of converge. Um, it's kind of like the spine of the hand, for me at least. So let's just put a couple more. The dog's barking. So usually when Bubba barks, it means it's coming close to the end of the live stream. Because that's the first thing that I say in the morning to my family. Just if Bubba barks like 10 times in a row, please get him to stop. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, but the museum is still better, especially in the summertime. I love going to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, teaching class, people watching, having a good time, having a good lunch. Wrap around your strokes here. What's expensive? Oh, the emergency visits, yes. Let's show more of the front plane of this finger, so we'll promote the tip of it then. And I need to do a swan neck on this. A wee bit more. A little bit of form line over here, side plane of that finger. Yeah, I definitely miss going to the museum. I mean, it's a hike for me, but I still miss it. So this is the early stages. This is the drawing I did yesterday. So this one was about, I don't know, 25 minutes maybe, 30 minutes. And this is where we're at today. It's your choice. You know, the question is from Maruka, should the darker areas be as dark as in the pitch, in the pick? It's really your choice. So many different things are dependent on with that question. How much time do you want to draw? What is your style? Are you going for an exact likeness, or are you just kind of doing a somewhat of a likeness? It's my rule is just simply this: just make sure that you have three values in the drawing: a dark, a middle tone, and a light. And whether or not you decide to match all of the values is totally your call. Oh, nice. I like that's a good story. You have the best stories about these people, Craig. Still not too late to erase. Okay, an hour and a half. Let's say we give it 5 more minutes of drawing time. What do you think? This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing this today. Let me just kind of sprinkle in a little bit more of these convex lines. I'm going to get up off of my chair during the break, and I'm going to look and see what is off. And I'll film a little bit more off camera for members of Drawing Tutorials Online, and I'll post the extra video to the member area of the website. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so your darkest darks are really the accents, and an accent is where one thing touches another. So where my arm touches my chest, that would be one of the darkest darks on my shirt. And so accents are good. You want to try to work as much of the middle tone as you possibly can first, and then go to the darkest darks, because what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to match values a little bit. Thank you, Morris. Yeah, 5 more minutes would be awesome. Okay. Yeah, the more you look, the more you're going to discover more things. Okay, so I'm looking and I'm discovering more and more. And so, like I said, I'll work. I'm going to film maybe like 2 more videos with this here today. I'll post those videos to the members area of DTO, and I'll post the finished drawing there. Whether or not I finish this on camera, I don't know, but I will do a couple more videos of this. Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate you joining us. I'm doing a live stream. Sometimes I only mention the live stream to members of my website, and then sometimes when I know that I'm going to make it a long drawing, I'll announce it to a lot of people who are not members, and then I do other additional videos and put them in the members area of my website. So I'm basically going to be doing a live stream for as long as I possibly can on Saturdays. Yeah, and again, the accent is where one thing touches another. And if you're doing someone's leg, and let's say somebody's kneeling on the floor and their legs are bent, their lower legs are bent against their upper legs, where the 2 legs touch, that's going to be your darkest dark, if there's modeling factors on those legs. All right, so I think I'm going to put this one to bed because I've been sitting on this chair now for 1 hour and 33 minutes and I got to get up. I really do appreciate you watching this. So what am I going to do next here? So today I'm going to take like a 5-minute, 10-minute stretch break. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk around, and let me just kind of go to a different scene so I can be really cool here, and let me make sure those other mics are muted. Hopefully there's no echo right now. They look muted. But what I'm going to plan on doing for the rest of the day is I plan on I'm going to take a little short break right now, and then I'm going to film again. I'm going to draw this again, but I'm going to look at it from far away. It's really, really important to look at it from far away. And I'll upload the additional videos in the members area, most likely on Tuesday when I have some extra time, maybe Wednesday. And I'll also, of course, upload the finished drawing. I'm going to try to work on this a little bit more. Again, I really do appreciate. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Craig. Yeah. Hey, Steven. God, what's going on, man? Are you going to be at the Steven, are you going to be at the the faculty meeting later today? It's going to be one of the first ones. Now Steven's here. How do I go when Steven's here? Steven is a teacher at the School of Visual Arts who teaches in the 3rd year of college at the School of Visual Arts. And Steven is such a great teacher that he usually takes all of the bad habits that I've taught my students, and he breaks those bad habits and he gets them to draw with a little bit more grace and movement. So Stephen, I hope to see you later today at 3 p.m. at the faculty meeting. I haven't gone to a faculty meeting in years. The last one I went to was with Reeves Lehman. Okay, awesome, Stephen. I look forward to seeing you there. And yeah, Stephen, one of my classes has one student. It's not. I don't even think it's going to run. It really sucks. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys, your comments are awesome. Yeah, Stephen, and everybody, I think I'm going to call this one quits. This was a lot of fun. I can only sit down in this chair for a certain amount of time. Maybe if I do another live stream today, I will send out an email. I might visit on Facebook just for a little while later to say hello to my friends there. Sometimes when I do these live streams on Facebook, there's a lot of high school friends on there. And no, man, you're the best. You got to correct those bad habits that my students get when they're in my class. They need to draw faster and more animative the way that you do. So thank you guys again. I appreciate you joining, and I'll see you next week on Saturday. And for members of DTO, look for this additional videos to be uploaded maybe on Wednesday or Tuesday. All right, you guys have a great day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.